meal prepping sounds very self-important and very difficult, but it is not. It's super not. It's just easy. Welcome back. This week I wanted to talk about something that I actually do every week now, which I don't know how I got that together. It must have been an accident. There's no way that this happened on purpose. I want to talk about meal prepping. Obviously, you already know that because you clicked on the video. I don't just want to talk about meal prepping. I would like to create a video that will be the last video and the last guide that you will ever need for meal prepping. There are 3 parts to this video. First, I'm going to talk about why you would even want to meal prep. So if you already know that you want to meal prep, you already know that you want to start doing it, you can skip ahead a little bit. Second part, I'm going to go into the common myths of meal prepping and my answers to them and like how to solve those things and why they're not true. Then, last of all, the most important part, the bulk of this video, I'm going to give you all of my tips for meal prepping. I have been meal prepping for at least 3 years now, if not longer. I have got it down to a science now, and I genuinely enjoy doing it. And if you watch carefully on the screen, I'm actually going to show you how to make the meal prep lunch that I made this week. It's a sort of Mediterranean hummus, chicken, shawarma, Greek bowl. Before I go any further, have you subscribed? If you have not, please do so now. So why do you want to meal prep your lunch? Specifically, this video covers lunch. I have 3 reasons why you want to meal prep. First, it takes the thought out of the busiest part of your day. Lunch, or for some people it's different. Some people it's breakfast, some people it's dinner. I find for me, lunch is when I'm too busy to stop working. I'm too busy to do anything. When I used to leave the house for work, I didn't have the resources to make stuff in the middle of the day. And so having something that's already ready is perfect. Second, is specifically in regards to eating healthy. We all want to eat healthy. We all want to eat better. Maybe you don't, that's fine, live your life. I find for me, if I start with a good breakfast, I get to the middle of the day and I'm like, snacks are food, snacks could be a meal. And I start convincing myself and I get to this point where my day just kind of falls apart. My healthy eating plan falls apart at lunch. If I eat a good breakfast and I get to lunch and I don't have something that's already ready to go and I'm busy and I don't want to think about it, that is where I lose momentum. The last reason you want to meal prep is it's just one less thing to think about. There are a million things that I am constantly juggling. I probably have 10 to-do lists going on in my head right now, and if I can take something off my plate and never have to think about it again, that is excellent for me, especially something that lasts an entire week. Okay, that's why you want to meal prep. If you're convinced, or you are already convinced, maybe you've gotten to this part of the video already. Now, I'd like to talk about some common myths. So when I first started meal prepping, I remember I was like, okay, I have to do all these things because that is what meal prep is. And especially my boyfriend, I think when he started meal prepping, he got into that mindset of I have to eat a piece of chicken and broccoli and a sweet potato and nothing else counts as meal prep. First of all, meal prep is boring. That is such a huge myth. You can do whatever you want for meal prep. Meal prep just means having it already made. Number 2, you have to eat the same thing every day. This is a huge myth because you can do whatever you want. It's your lunches. If you have the time, you can make a different lunch every day of the week. It's completely up to you. Number 3, meal prep is just for weight loss or bulking. Wildly untrue. Sure, part of why I do meal prep is because I get more control over the nutrition that's going into my body, and I like that. Part of the reason my boyfriend does meal prep is to make sure that he's getting enough calories throughout the day. Not that he's bulking, he just burns a lot without trying. But that does not mean that that is the only reason why you meal prep. I meal prep for convenience over anything. I love that a lunch is already made and I do not have to think about it. It can be for literally anyone. Number 4 is probably the biggest myth. Meal prep takes too long. Meal prep can take longer at first. Once you get in the habit of meal prepping, I just filmed all the meal prep that I did for the week, and I did it by myself today, and it took me an hour and a half. And that's with filming. When I get it down to a science and I know what I'm doing, it takes me about an hour. And an hour on a weekend is not a lot of time considering what I get out of it, which is 5 lunches. And number 5, meal prep is too hard. If you know how to make a few things, or if you know how to cut a few things, you can do meal prep. Let us get into the bulk of this. Let's talk about actually meal prepping. I have 7 tips for you. 7 things that you need to keep in mind when you're meal prepping, and once you know these, you can do whatever you want. Number 1, get the right containers. These can be very different for everyone. They don't have to match. They should be somewhat similar in size, and there should be enough of them that you have for whatever you're meal prepping. If you like to have things with liquid or salad dressing or soups or chilies or stews or whatever, get a lid that snaps in place to stop liquid from falling all over whatever you're bringing it in. If you're working from home, then maybe that doesn't matter for you. If you like the type of lunch that's like a bento box and you like everything to be divided, you like lots of little snacks and not like one big bowl, then get something that has dividers in it. Get the containers that will work for you. I actually pack the things that go on top of my lettuce into smaller containers. Number 2, make something you love and are excited for. If you make a really healthy lunch and it looks good and it's very Instagrammable and it is very healthy and the macros are amazing on it, but you're like, I'm kind of excited to eat it for 2 days and then I'm not really that excited, it is never gonna work and you are going to let it go bad in the fridge and then you're gonna feel guilty and then you're gonna eat it out of guilt and you probably shouldn't eat things that have gone bad. So instead, what I like to do is I find something that is healthy-ish. Maybe I have lots of hot sauce. Maybe I have lots of olives on it. Maybe I use a Caesar dressing. And yes, Caesar dressing is not the healthiest, but what I do is I fill up the salad with veggies. I don't use a ton of the dressing, and for me, that works out beautifully. Make something like a burrito bowl where it tastes like a burrito and it's glorious and it's healthy, but it doesn't taste healthy. The key is to find a balance between the two things, your nutrition and your taste. Tip number 3, think about how things intermingle in the containers as they sit for however many days. If I were to put lettuce in the containers, I'd probably put it on the top if I have the dressing in there. The dressing one is an obvious one. People have talked about this a lot. Some people put dressing on the bottom of the container and then they shake it up when they're ready to eat it. When I used to leave the house, I would put dressing on right in the morning. For me, that was not a hard thing to do. You have to think about how wet something is. If you're making a Greek salad, that gives off a lot of moisture. Same with a baked sweet potato. For some reason, it releases a lot of liquid over the few days. And so don't put something right next to it. Like, let's say you have a slice of bread in there. You don't want to put the bread right next to the sweet potato or the Greek salad, otherwise it's going to be mush in a few days. Think about how things play together. If this is too hard or you really don't even want to have to think about this, get a container with dividers and never have to think about it again. Tip number 4, plan accordingly. Maybe you need 5 days of lunches and you're okay with them being the same. Food in general lasts about 5 days in the fridge, depending on the item, so look up the individual things. But if you need 5 days of lunches, don't make it 8 days ahead, because then by the end of the 5 days that you needed them for, it's not gonna be good anymore. Number 5, be honest with yourself about what you want. If you've never meal prepped before and you don't like eating the same thing every day, don't start from the beginning making 5 lunches all the same and making yourself eat them. You will never eat them. If you want to have 3 lunches of one kind and 2 lunches of another, then do that. If you want to make 3 meal prep lunches and eat out twice during the week, then do that. That's fine. Baby steps. If you want to meal prep everything, i.e. chop everything up, cook everything, and then keep it all in separate containers and make your lunch the night before every day so you can make it a little bit differently, then do that. Just be honest with yourself about what you want and what you like and what you want to do and what you're going to do. Maybe you don't even need meal prep for the week. Maybe you don't even need your 5 lunches. Maybe you're really busy on the weekends and those are the days that you actually need food ready for you. Then do that. Tip number 6, if you are watching what you eat in some way, and I don't mean watching like you're trying to lose weight, I mean if you're trying to make sure that your nutrition is where you want it to be and you're getting all your vitamins and minerals, or maybe you want to make sure, like my boyfriend, like you're getting enough calories because you're burning a lot during the day. My favorite thing to do is to take an app like Chronometer and create a new recipe for my meal prep, put in all the ingredients that I put in, and then divide it by how many lunches I make out of it. If I make 2 cups of quinoa and like 2 cups of hummus, this many veggies and whatever, I just put it all in there and say that it makes 5 servings, and that way I can see exactly what my lunch looks like, either how many calories or what the nutrition is like, and then I can also adjust from there. If the salt content is kind of high, maybe I take out a few olives. If I could use a little bit more protein, maybe I add a few more chickpeas. Finally, my very last tip, if meal prepping is too hard, too difficult to do by yourself, or it's just a little daunting to cook everything by yourself, do it with someone else. I had a friend who would meal prep with her other friend. I mean, obviously this is all post-COVID, but find someone to meal prep with. Use your sibling, use your partner, use your friend, use your family member, use a random person off the street that you convince to come into your home and cook with you. Don't do that. It takes the stress off the cooking. You can make the same thing and adjust accordingly. So my boyfriend and I make the exact same meal, except he has has way more grains, way more fats, whatever, and I like to put mine on a giant bed of lettuce because I like a huge salad in the middle of the day, and I mean huge. It's very huge. It's very easy to adjust the lunches for what you need, and it is so nice to cook with another person. It is lovely, and even if you don't cook with another person, I did this alone for like 2 years, and I'm fine. I survived. It's okay. That is it. Those are all my tips. That's everything I've learned about meal prepping over the years. I hope this video was helpful. If I missed anything or if you have tips of your own that you'd love to share, I would love to see them in the comments. Please leave one down below. If you're new here, welcome. I make new videos every Thursday. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.